What's up? I'm Andrew from the death metal band Ripped to Shreds and Goregrind band Hokago Grind Time. And today I will show you what kind of gear and preparation you need to play a one-man show. If you don't have these basic things ready, you'll be like all those other crappy bands faffing about on stage, messing with their gear, eating up my set time, and worst of all, wasting the audience's time. I used this gear on tour throughout the West Coast, Japan, and the UK. And also at festivals like Northwest Terror and Obscene Extreme. The number one most important thing I bring to every HGT gig is this DI box. Without it, there are no backing tracks and there is no show. It accepts this 3.5mm jack as input and outputs an XLR, which the front of house mixing desk can accept as their input. You might ask, shouldn't venues have a 1/4-inch adapter or a DI box for you? Larger venues often do, but when they don't, it's a showstopper. And if you're playing small DIY or art spaces or practice rooms or house shows, as is very common for grindcore, they almost never have one. It's relatively cheap and it will save both you and front of house a lot of headache if you just bring your own. What do I actually play my backing tracks off of? This is like like $20 off Amazon. It's just a cheap MP3 player. I don't use my phone anymore. I used to use my phone at the very start. I got sick of putting my phone on airplane mode when it was time to play, and then I would have to switch it back afterwards. And then I couldn't record my sets. It was really annoying. I decided I just wanted something separate and dedicated. I also bring this second DI box. No 3.5mm input. This is for my pitch shifter. The pitch shifter I use comes out with a regular instrument cable output jack, and you don't want to be plugging that into the mixing desk. That's because of something we call impedance mismatch. If you use a guitar pedal, it outputs something called a high Z signal, or unbalanced high impedance signal. And mixing desks work with low impedance balanced signals. Balance just means that the cable carries two signals. One is the regular signal, and the other is inverted. The waveform is flipped. So the signal travels along those two wires along the length of the cable. And mixing desks are often, 50 to 100 feet away from the stage, and they pick up all this electrical interference. At the end of the cable, you invert the inverted signal again. Now the noise will cancel itself out when you sum these two wires together. Then there's the matter of impedance. High Z signals lose strength over long distances. Your signal gets quieter, there's more interference and noise. The DI box for your pitch shifter makes sure that your toilet gurgles are totally noise-free. Today's sponsor of this video is me. I have these new Ripped to Shreds shirts. Eat ass, blast fast. Very mature. I integrated the store, so you should be able to go to it right from my YouTube page or check the link in the description. I will have a link. I also have the new HGT and Reptile Split Pro CDR. I have no intention of ever shilling some random fucking music gear for a couple $100 or whatever sponsored ad slot. So buy some shit to support. Thanks. I also bring this PA to all the gigs that I drive to. It's for monitoring my backing tracks. At bigger venues, I can be sure that there will be some kind of monitor, and if someone is flying me out for a show, I make sure they understand that there is no show without any monitors. But if I'm on tour or I'm playing shows near me, I need a backup in case the venue has nothing. Just on this last West Coast tour, the Eureka show had underpowered monitors and an incompetent sound person, and if we weren't bringing our own PA wedges, the HGT set would have been a total disaster. Why don't I wear IEMs like I do for Ripped to Shreds? There's two reasons for that, and the first one is mostly emotional, because there was one HGT show in Oakland where the PA sucked. The cheap mixing board I had at the time to drive my IEMs, it failed, and it gave me this piercing feedback right as the set started. I had to rip out my in-ears, and I played the worst set I've ever played because I couldn't hear any of the backing tracks. And I was sticking my head in the fucking PA to try to hear something, and I went half deaf. I could probably fix that now, but just the idea of trying to use IEMs or HGT, I just don't like it. The second reason is more practical. I like to stomp around on stage, move as much as possible so it's more exciting for the audience, and having my guitar cable attached to me is already annoying enough. I don't want to have two. And I'm just really not ready to switch over to a wireless pack for the guitar or my IEMs. I also use this PA to check my backing tracks. I have these regular Yamaha Yamaha HSA monitors, but they're not a very good substitute for trying to figure out how these tracks will sound at an actual venue. These are trying to sound accurate, and a PA is just trying to blast as much volume as possible. And in a lot of cases, tiny venues will actually use this exact model, which is Electro Voice ZLX. I've seen this exact one used a bunch of times. I always want to present a fully mixed backing track to the front of house, so I don't need to bring a laptop or an interface for them to mix like raw multi-tracks. I also make sure that the tracks are mixed in mono. Venues very rarely mix drums in stereo. And for the backing tracks, every single HGT release has real live drums recorded on that kit over there. But for the live shows, all the backing tracks are a Superior drummer with a snare sample made from that kit overlaid on top of the Superior drummer snare. I like to change up the set lists as often as I can, especially because I'm performing the backing tracks, so I want to give like a different performance every tour. This really pays off when like people come to watch you multiple times. A lot of the people who were at Chimpy Fest also came to Obscene Extreme, and so they got a totally different set. And I had switched my snare sound from this super light ping snare to that woodier Ludwig Black Beauty that you hear on the second HGT album. If I recorded live drums for the set, every time I wanted to add new songs, I would have to re-record all the songs in the set for it to stay consistent, and that is just a huge pain in the ass. I do use backing guitar when songs have solos, but I don't put any bass tracks in, because I want to make sure the audience is, watching as live a performance as possible. This is the HX Stomp that I use for the guitar sound and my pitch shifter. I combine it with this power amp, which goes straight to the guitar cabinet. This means I am totally sure I will have an absolutely consistent sound no matter where I'm flying into, no matter what I'm playing. I can deal with a crappy MG 4x12 cabinet. If they have like some Fender frontman amp, it's gonna drive me nuts. I used to use this Digitech Vocal 300 for my pitch shifter. When I started off playing live shows for HGT, I did a lot of flyouts. It's really big and heavy. It requires its own power adapter. It's really difficult to program because there's no PC software to control it. And I was already dragging around my HX Stomp for the guitar, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna figure out how to do my pitch shifting through the HX Stomp. I use the effects loop here, which is panned hard right, and the amp sim out of the right of the stereo out, and the pitch shifter comes out of the left of the stereo out. The amp sim I use live for HGT is the rectifier, because I fucking love this thing. It sounds big, fat, it's fucking nu metal. Does the HX Stomp sound exactly like that? No. Every model of the rectifier sounds a little bit different. This is the 50 watt single rectifier model, and it's gonna sound different from the double and triple rectos, and there's like about 150 million different revisions of the dual rectifier. And there's, Badlander, Road King. So it doesn't bother me. Live, when everything's cranked up, I can't tell the difference, and I doubt anyone in the audience is gonna come up to me and say, hey, that's not a real Rev G dual rectifier that you're playing. Which leaves me with our final piece of gear, my hot pink Kiesel. I keep it in drop A. Using one finger is way easier than trying to go all crazy all over the fretboard. I put these green pickup stickers on here. It was black before, so that it looks like watermelon. It's very important for toned that it looks like a watermelon. Especially for flyout gigs. Headless is so much nicer than a guitar with a proper headstock, because you can just toss into the overhead bin, put it in the coat rack. None of the flight attendants can complain or anything like that. It's super convenient. And that's pretty much all I use for my one-man show. There's some other things I would love to do. I really want to have like a projector, have AMVs synced up to every single song. I don't have the time. If any of you guys know someone who makes AMVs and would be interested in making like 20 short AMVs for me, or who I can contact to do that, please let me know in the fucking comments, because I don't have fucking time to do it myself. There's this other thing that I thought would be really funny. We had like 3 one-man bands on tour together in a sedan. So, like me plus Tapo from First Days of Humanity and I guess Needle Contaminated Pork. That would be a really funny tour. I should probably get to work and convince those dudes to do it. Okay, that's pretty much all I have for today. Rip to Shreds has a show supporting Death Metal Legends Master at 924 Gilman in Berkeley on the 10th of October. I expect it all to come out. Check the description to buy the shirts, new CDs, and as always, eat ass, blast fast, and peace.